And when you live under a situation like that constantly, and then you ask me, whether I approve of violence. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense at all. Whether I approve of guns. I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. Some very, very good friends of mine were killed by bombs that were planted by racists. I remember from the time I was very small, I remember the sounds of bombs exploding across the street, our house shaking. I remember my father having to have guns at his disposal at all times because of the fact that at any moment we might expect to be attacked. That's why when someone asks me about violence, I just find it incredible. What it means is that the person who's asking that question has absolutely no idea what black people have gone through, what black people have experienced in this country since the time the first black person was kidnapped from the shores of Africa.
The whole liberation of oppressed people in the United States had to do not with climbing up some ladder to success, not for asking to be just like Rockefeller or just like DuPont or just like Ford, because that would only continue the oppression and exploitation of oppressed people in the United States, and specifically African people born and raised in the United States. Socialism is an integral part of building social justice on this planet. The condition of my people, my history, was very much connected with other oppressed people, and I began to see that the same foot that was on the necks of the Vietnamese people, that was on the necks of all oppressed people on the planet, was the same foot that was on my neck. And so I began to understand that imperialism has to go. It is a poison that is killing people all over this world. The priorities of this planet have to be completely changed. And instead of profits, instead of policies that destroy the earth, that destroy the water, that destroy human beings, I believe a policy that protects people, that makes people live in a community, a world community. That's what I believe. That's my basic political commitment at this moment.
The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense is organized now throughout the nation. We are recognized internationally, and we advocate that all black people in America are taught what politics is all about and what our history is all about, so that we can have self-identity and we can know where our strength is, we will know our enemies, and we'll know our friends.
Report back here in the last Sunday's paper that we were anti-white, that we hold no bones, this is a quote, pick no bones about being anti-white. This is a bold-faced lie. We don't hate nobody because of their color. We hate oppression. We hate murder of black people in our communities. We hate the gross unemployment that exists in our communities. We hate black men being taken off into the military service to be fighting for our racist, decadent American promising us freedom. In the Civil War, 186,000 black men fought in the military service, and we were promised freedom, and we didn't get it. In World War II, 350,000 black men fought, and we were promised freedom, and we didn't get it. In World War II, 850,000 black men fought, and we were promised freedom, and we didn't get it. In the Korean conflict, the so-called police action, a war, we fought there, and we didn't get it. Now here we go with the damn Vietnam War, and we still ain't getting nothing but racist police brutality, etc. We are against oppression.
We want housing, we want clothing, we want education, we want justice, and we want peace.
Any level of struggle that we are involved in has to do with a broad base of commitment to the fact that we have brothers and sisters who are involved in our movement, who are part of the new African independence movement, who have seen that the only way for us to struggle and survive in America and for us to be recognized as the people of the world is that we develop an independent sovereign nation in order to put forward our way and means of developing a society that has respect for everyone in that society and respect for each groups of people's self-determination. That struggle, we think, is the most efficacious way of helping a non-violent universe to exist in this period. At this stage of our struggle, we believe that we cannot not depend upon the people who are running the world now to secure a peaceful coexistence between nations and people in the pursuit of happiness and intelligentsia of advancing the form of life that we live on this planet today. So I am a citizen of the Republic of New Africa. I've been a member of the Republic of New Africa most of my life. I think that as a political prisoner and a prisoner of war, which are two different distinct categories, but are very important for me to talk about at this point. We're struggling in the courts and in the world for recognition of the war, the acknowledgement of the war that black people have been involved in since we've been brought here as slaves. That war constitutes genocide, which is an act of inhumanity to man, and an act of denying us our self-determination as a people who have a right to determine which way we go from here. And because of that, we believe that we are due international recognition as prisoners of war, and that because the war does not, at this point in history, fit the specific categories that has been accepted by the UN Charter, does not mean that we are not, in fact, prisoners of war. One, and it does not mean that as prisoners of war, we should not fight for the recognition of our war as a war that should be recognized by the world body in order to put limited forms, general forms of protection on us. And
the letters to my family, my mother, my father, sisters, my brother, Jonathan, they were intended to familiarize them with the situation I was faced with here. Of course, here in prison, we see the repression, the exploitation, the victimization of lower class.
In 1961, Jackson was 19 years old, and he received the indeterminate sentence of 1 year to life.
Well, I was incarcerated under a 1 to life, a term they called for 1 to life, where I could have done 1 year and been released. I've done 10. That's more time than anybody in the state has ever done on a 1 to life. I went through all the processes. I tried to get out. I went to school, program, but now on the side, I was studying things that I felt that would help the community.
Those on the right saw him as the most powerful threat in the prison system.
I think racism is a control device, control mechanism, create an atmosphere whereby they can control the inmates. And black is just a continuation.
He was the true revolutionary, the black communist guerrilla in the highest state of development.
I'd be the last one to say that Jonathan had suicide in mind. I'm certain that Jonathan felt that the police would have some concern, would give some concern to the lives of those 5 civilians. I'm thinking that Jonathan was trying to demonstrate to the public, to the people, just how he felt that these problems should be solved.
Was the incident for which you're charged now, was it a revolutionary act on your part?
You're asking me to confess to something?
Unless you want to, did you kill the man?
Look, one of the most important element of guerrilla warfare is to maintain secrecy. I've killed nobody until it's been proven, and they'll never be able to prove anything like that.
Louverture was born a slave on the Breda plantation, allegedly the grandson of the king of Alada in modern-day Benin. Toussaint slowly worked his way to freedom and became a prominent businessman in the colony. When tensions began to boil between slaves seeking freedom and their colonial masters around the time of the French Revolution, Louverture took up the call to fight for the liberation of his people and his nation. Beginning as a lieutenant, he soon found himself in command upon the execution of his former general. Battling the new French government for control of the island, he demonstrated a natural ability for leadership and decisive action, both militarily and diplomatically. In a series of stunning military victories, Louverture turned back the superior armies of the French and British colonists and won the hearts and minds of the newly liberated Haitian people. He was Governor General of Haiti and drafted a constitution that would ensure autonomy from outside authority for the future of the new republic. Fearing the strength of a united Haiti, soon-to-be Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte sent an expedition of 1,000 elite French troops to the island that would ultimately arrest Louverture and take him back to France, where he would die in prison. Not to be deterred, the people of Haiti lived up to Louverture's spirit and swiftly resumed their revolution against the French and secured a lasting freedom for their country. Louverture's legacy has withstood the test of time, and he is today remembered as one of the nation's heroes and the greatest force in bringing about its independence.
Colonialism is a political and economic system in which one country takes control of another country or territory. The dominant country, or colonizer, imposes its culture, values, and institutions on the subordinate country, the colony, often resulting in the exploitation of the latter's resources and inhabitants. Colonialism has a long history that dates back to the ancient Greek and Roman empires. However, it was during the 16th century that colonialism began to take on the form that we recognize today, with European powers establishing colonies in the Americas, Africa, and Asia. Colonial powers sought to control resources, such as precious metals and spices, as well as establish trading routes that would enable them to dominate world commerce. Colonial powers often imposed their own language, religion, and laws, which served to subjugate and marginalize the native populations. This led to the gradual destruction of indigenous cultures and traditions. The economic impact of colonialism was also devastating. Colonial powers often extracted resources from their colonies at low cost and sold them at a high profit, depriving local populations of the benefits of their own resources. This disrupted local economies, leading to poverty, unemployment, and dependency. Today, the effects of colonialism are still felt in many parts of the world. Former colonies continue to struggle with the legacy of colonialism, including poverty, inequality, and political instability. Moreover, colonialism has left a lasting imprint on the cultures and identities of the colonized peoples, with many struggling to reclaim their traditions and heritage in the face of centuries of oppression and marginalization.